Welcome to CC Rock. I'm Metal Matt, and this month on CC Rock we have a great show with Dream Theater's Mike Portnoy, the drummer from Dream Theater, amazing drummer from the Warfield Theater in San Francisco. We're going to have some scenes from their new video, Metropolis 2000. Well, it's not that new, but it's pretty new. Plus some live footage from the Warfield. So sit back and enjoy a rocking good time on CC Rock.
If at any time you need to come back, all you need to do is open your eyes. One.
Safe in the light that surrounds me, free of the fear and the pain. My subconscious mind starts spinning through time to rejoin the past once again. Nothing seems real, I'm starting to feel lost in the haze of a dream. And as I draw near, the scene becomes clear, like watching my life on a screen. Hello, Victoria, so glad to see you, my friend.
Welcome to CC Rock. I'm Metal Matt, and we're backstage at the Warfield Theater with one of the most amazing drummers I've ever seen in my life. We're not worthy. Mike Portnoy, Dream Theater. How you doing?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Hey, this is really cool. I mean, this is the third time, fourth time I've seen you guys. You always come back with a great live show. You're one of the most amazing bands live. I mean, how do you guys keep the actual, 5 people on stage, a very fast, progressive, hard rocking band. How do you guys do it in such great sync? I mean, you guys, a lot of practice, I imagine?
You'd be surprised how little we practice, believe it or not. It's a lot of preparation when we come together. We're not the type of band at this stage in our career where we practice 5 days a week when we're off the road. We all have families and things like that, and we spend so much time touring and in the studio that we actually only rehearse when it's time to prepare for a tour. And it's a matter of, we actually put a lot of time into sound checks, and that's when we do the bulk of our rehearsing. And on this tour in particular, we're rotating set lists every night. So we have 6 to 7 hours worth of music at our fingertips from show to show. So, we spend time at the sound checks getting it together. And it's a lot of personal homework, everybody kind of coming in prepared and ready to put it together.
Well, you talk about, a lot of preparation and the fact of the sound checks. 6 Degrees of Turbulence, the new disc. I said it right?
Inner turbulence.
Inner turbulence. Inner turbulence. Explain, what does that mean? What is the meaning of the album?
Well, the album title came from the song title. First, it was a song title, and basically the second disc of our new CD is a big, giant 42-minute epic, and
my kid wanted to go to Disneyland when he heard that first part. I said, Dad, are we going to Disneyland next week? No, not yet, son.
The overture was absolutely inspired by Disney meets John Williams and Star Wars and things like that. And basically, the song title talks about the concept of that piece is basically 6 characters in an asylum or a mental institution. 6 different characters that are dealing with various stages of schizophrenia and manic depression and things like that. And so that's where the song title came from. When it came time to come up with an album title, it seemed to jump out and be appropriate because there were 6 tracks on the album, and we've never actually had a self-titled album, so it seemed appropriate, being that it was this big, giant magnum opus, to name the album after that. I mean, all of our favorite giant epic songs from some of our favorite bands, like 2112 by Rush, or Close to the Edge by Yes, or even our very own Change of Seasons, it was always the title track, so it seemed appropriate, if any time in our career, to have a title track, that this would be it.
something powerful. It beats him to a power. Vigorous, irresistible. Sick and tired, laid low. Dominating, invisible. Like our last self-control. Overwhelming, unpunchable. Power last after let go. I can't escape it. It feels me frail and warm. Can no longer take it. Sentence harder than talk. Hopeless surrender. Obsession's got me beat. Losing my will to live. Admitting complete defeat. Down like a round. Desperate attempts stop the progression. It anything left this obsession. Crawling to my glass prison, a place where no one knows. My secret lonely world begins. So much safer here, a place where I can go to forget about my daily sins. Life here in my glass prison, a place I once called home. Falling nocturnal bliss again. Chasing a long lost friend I no longer can control. Just waiting for this hopelessness to end. Come on, set free!
About the Rush thing. I mean, as I look at you guys right now, 25 years ago, Rush was pretty much putting out some pretty amazing stuff at that stage of their career. I mean, they're still making some amazing stuff afterwards, but I mean, as far as creativity-wise, they were really blooming at that point. You guys are at the same point right now. How does it feel when you have all these young guys out there who are looking at you guys going, you guys are it right now as far as the progressive rock scene? What does that feel like to be as a musician?
It's an honor, you know. We're flattered by it, and you know, when we put this band together 16 years ago or whatever, we were just trying to fill a void within ourselves as listeners. You know, we missed that bands like Rush and Yes and Genesis weren't doing the long progressive epic pieces, and at the same time we had a love for heavier music like Metallica and Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath. So we just kind of put these styles together to fill a void within ourselves as fans and listeners, and obviously there's lots of other people that felt that void as well, because, you know, they've stuck by us now for all these years. And, you know, to be compared to those bands, it's flattering. And I definitely can see the comparisons. I look at our career and the way that Rush's career was in kind of in their heyday, and I see a lot of parallels. I kind of can see the comparison.
What do you feel about Neil Peart? Is he like, I mean, was he your god when you were younger as far as drumming goes, or who was your inspiration?
Well, my inspiration and my drum gods aren't necessarily the same people.
How about Dad over there? No.
He was a bit of a drum god for me when I was in high school and things like that. If you even look at my high school yearbook, in the back it said future plans to become the next Neil Peart. So, but you know, he was a favorite of mine when I was developing as a drummer, and some of my other favorite drummers when I was younger were people like John Bonham and Keith Moon and even Ringo. But my inspiration goes way beyond just drummers. You know, filmmakers and directors have as much of an influence on me creatively as any great drummer does, or people like Frank Zappa or Roger Waters. Even though they're not drummers, their creativity and, you know, the way that they, you know, write music, produce music has had as much of an influence as any drummer.
Well, I mean, you've graduated the maritime go-round, we call it. You almost got hit by a car there. I remember that day. You walked in. You were flustered. Oh yeah, you were flustered. You walked in that day. I said, you know, you were just like, you weren't ready for an interview, that's for sure. And luckily, James was set for an interview, but James was over in Sausalito that day.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, it was, you know,
even if Maritime Hall had not closed, we would not be playing there this time because of that incident.
I believe it, because I mean,
blacklist given to our booking agent.
It was funny because you know, James had some stories about that place. He always felt, here we are again. Of course, a few years before that, you were here with Deep Purple, Emerson, Lake and Palmer in the opening act, and now you are, of course, the headliner for a sold-out show.
Well, believe it or not, we've actually headlined and sold this place out several times before the Deep Purple tour. Back in the Images and Words and Awake days, we've played here at least 3 times.
You just came out with the video, Metropolis 2000, a little while ago from Roseland, right? Out in New York, correct? How was that as a live concert? I mean, you guys are obviously a lot of pressure. The tapes are rolling. There's cameras on you. How is that feeling of putting together a live video compared to just, you know, putting something on actual CD?
Well, it was a big undertaking, especially for me. I actually directed it, so that particular show was an incredibly stressful day. The drumming was the least of my concerns that day, and you know, I had to deal with the video truck and the audio truck, and we had.
You say direct. I mean, you're not actually like, obviously you couldn't have been pushing the buttons in the truck, but what do you mean by as post-production direction?
Yes, and pre-production, pre and post, you know, obviously, and but every single frame, you know, I sat side by side with the editor throughout the whole process, and the whole DVD layout, blah, 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 etc. Anyway, it was a big undertaking, but the day of the show was very stressful because the show was more than a normal Dream Theater show. We had many guest artists and a choir and a couple of different actors and things like that. So it was a big undertaking to kind of oversee the entire staging, and the show itself was very demanding. We played almost 3.5 hours that night, and it was the last time we performed Scenes from Memory in its entirety. So it was a nice show to have captured and you know, preserved.
Well, plus kind of your homeland, in a sense, where is your hometown zone area?
That was another thing. We had a live video from Tokyo. We had a live CD from London. We had a live CD from Paris. We had another live video from Holland. So when it came time to decide where we were going to shoot, you know, the Scenes from Memory show, there was no question in our minds that it should be in New York because we had done recordings everywhere else in the world. We really wanted to do something on home turf.
Sacrificed without a fight, a victim of a circumstance. And now that I've become aware that I've exposed this tragedy, sadness grows inside of me. It all seems so unfair. I'm learning all about my life by looking through her eyes. Just beyond the churchyard gates, where the grass is overgrown, I saw the writing on her stone. I felt like I would suffocate in loving memory of our child, so innocent, eyes open wide. I felt so empty as I cried, like part of me had died. I'm learning all about my life by looking through her eyes. And as her remains wander through She wasn't given any choice. Desperation stole her voice. I've been given so much more life. I've got a son, I've got a wife. I had to suffer one last time to grieve for her and say goodbye. Relive the anguish of my past to find out who I was at last. The door is open wide. I'm turning with the tide, looking through her eyes.
Last time around, you brought Spock's Beard along. Neil Morse, amazing singer. Of course, I've listened to many times. The Transatlantic, great disc. Tell me about that disc. I mean, working, of course, with Neil on that disc. Is he a great guy to work with, or what?
Neil is somebody I admire incredibly. He's one of my favorite songwriters of the past 10 years or so, and the whole reason of putting Transatlantic together was actually just for me selfishly wanting to work with him, because I admired his work with Spock's Beard so much, and I just said, wow, this guy's a talent. I really would love to put my head together with his one day. And that's how Transatlantic came about. I contacted him about doing something, and we were already friends at that point. So to work with him with Transatlantic is, for me, an honor and a lot of fun. We've made 2 albums now, and we just did a full European tour.
How'd that go?
It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. We were playing really big places. The response there was awesome. We filmed one of the shows for an upcoming DVD.
Oh, cool.
But working with Neil and also Pete and Royna in that band,
Brilliant, and when's from?
It's all guys that I admire, and the whole purpose of that project had nothing to do with sales or marketing. It had completely to do with me selfishly wanting to make some music with these guys, regardless of what the fans thought or how well it sold.
When I sleep at night, I hear the cries. What does this mean? The door and travel to another home.
Well, that wraps up this month's edition of CC Rock with Dream Theater's Mike Portnoy, a great drummer, a band definitely at the top of their game. You could say they're like Rush 25 years ago. Rush is still a great band, but Dream Theater definitely at the top of their game in progressive rock world. And their new album, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, a great album. Definitely check it out. But better yet, check out my website, ccrock.tv. That's right, www.ccrock.tv. It's a great website with video clips, pictures. I mean, it's got reviews, concert calendars, it's got everything. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff to check out there. Definitely check that out. And you know what? If you have a picture of yourself rocking out, CC Rock rocking out, send it to my website. I'll put you on the website, as long as it's not too obscene. I'll save those for myself. No kidding. Definitely check out the website, and we will see you next month at CC Rock.
Without love, without you, there can be no journey.